Welcome to managing stress and conflict as an engineer. Today I'm going to show you how you can go from feeling stressed out and afraid of conflict to being confident and skillful when you're dealing with conflict as an engineer. I'm going to show you how you can go from feeling small to standing out in your office, from backing down when there's a conflict to skillful persuasion. I'm going to show you can go from feeling burned out to relaxed and confident. Today we're going to talk about the 5 mistakes that hold engineers back in their careers, building self-confidence, managing stress, resolving conflicts. I'm going to tell you about my system to help you develop all of these different skills, and you're going to have an option to have a 10-minute call at the end of this presentation and see how it would work for you. First, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. My name is John Murphy. I've been coaching for over 7 years. I've coached hundreds of people, and I've helped many engineers develop the skills that they need to deal with stress and conflict. I'm a social and emotional intelligence certified coach. I'm a professional certified coach with the International Coach Federation. I'm a certified professional coactive coach at the Coaches Training Institute, which is the oldest and largest coach training program in the world. My background is in structural engineering. I was a structural engineer for 6 years, and I'm a licensed professional engineer in civil engineering. I started out in my engineering job working as a structural engineer, but I was shy, I was quiet, I was afraid to speak up, and my desk was in between these 2 people that just hated each other. They would whisper to me how much they hated the other person when the other one wasn't looking, but they never talked with each other. I felt stressed out all the time. I felt like I was in the middle of a war zone, and I just didn't know how to handle it. I was afraid to speak up or change anything. I wanted to show leadership and make a difference in the office, but I just didn't know how. And one day I got fed up with waiting for things to change, and I decided to make a change. I signed up for my first leadership training. I was really nervous and I didn't know what to expect. These things can sometimes be a little goofy. But one of the first things that I learned that was really valuable was how we sometimes put ourselves into boxes and we limit our own potential. I learned I'd put myself in a box with my title as an engineer. I believed all the stereotypes about engineers being quiet, shy, unable to take on a leadership role, just do calculations, stay in the background. I believed all these things about myself. But what I found out is when you're looking really carefully, you can usually find evidence that contradicts some of your long-held beliefs about yourself or other people. You can also find evidence to support a completely new judgment about yourself or other people. And one piece of evidence that I noticed right away was one of the most outspoken and charismatic people in the leadership seminar was an engineer. Realizing this was really empowering, and it started to help me question some of my assumptions about engineers in general and my judgments about myself. And once I broke out of this box that I've been putting myself in, I was able to take new actions I'd never taken before. One of the things I did was I stood up one day in my office and I said to both people sitting next to me, "I'd like to request a meeting." It took a huge amount of courage for me to speak those words. I called the meeting and I asked them why they weren't talking to one another. They started to talk and express their opinions. It's the first time they talked to each other in months. And it didn't work out perfectly, but I had taken some bold action for maybe the first time in my life. And I was no longer restrained by the judgments that I'd made about myself. And from that time forward, I've dedicated myself to improving the work environment for engineers and helping them overcome their own personal obstacles.